And we are live. What's going on, everybody? I'm Adam. This is Open Late. And tonight, we are opening the G.I. Joe Classified Cover Girl and Outback. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. I guess. I don't know what I'm getting at. These are from the latest wave. We'll get these open. We'll probably end up chatting about the reveals today as well. Some pretty interesting stuff in there, some pretty exciting stuff. I think a pretty well-loved lineup from sort of everything that I've seen, everything that I've heard. Reactions seem good, but we're going to open these. Tomorrow, I'm going to open Falcon and the Crimson Bat as well. So more discussion about G.I. Joes tomorrow, more unboxings of G.I. Joes tomorrow. And then on Sunday, on Highly Articulated, we are going to be chatting about the reveals in detail with pictures and comparisons and, you know, a little bit more in-depth discussion on the reveals, the name-only reveals, the digital render reveals, the physical reveals for pre-order. And what we might expect going forward. And on Sunday, we're going to talk a little bit about the Mutant Mayhem, the new Ninja Turtles movie. So I'm really excited for that too. Spoiler alert: I like the new turtle designs. I know that's not going to be a very popular opinion, but that's okay. I don't mind. It doesn't have to be a popular opinion. Anyway, Jeremy's here. Master vs. Toy Hunter's hanging out. Thanos Copter is hanging out. Let's get going. Let's get these open. I'm going to start with Outback. And I'm going to start with Outback because we've basically already seen this figure before in the Tiger Force Outback, whereas CoverGirl is going to be a new character, a new figure. So we will do her. No, it's International Women's Day. Let's do CoverGirl first. I'm a gentleman. So ladies first. What was I thinking? Oh man, I'm embarrassed. All right, so CoverGirl. So we get this real pop art kind of art on the side, or on the front. Sorry, extended over onto the side. On the back, of course, we get the sort of representation of what is in the box. So we're going to get the figure, we're going to get a shotgun, pistol, a wrench, and an iPad, I guess. I don't know. As far as qualifications, CoverGirl is a tank driver, a bullet dodger, a wrencher, and loves MC Hammer. All right, so there you go. There's CoverGirl. Let's get her open. Facebook user says, testing YouTube comments. Well, Facebook user, if you want us to know who you are, you will have to go to streamyard.com/Facebook, and it'll let us see your avatar and your name and all that kind of stuff. So we've got CoverGirl, and we've got her Foot Locker there. This seems like overkill for like 2 or 3 little accessories, but it's sort of the same for every single figure. They kind of pack them the exact same. And I'm okay with that. It's a little bit ironic that just as we get used to this packaging, they go and change it. But we'll discuss that more. On Sunday, one day only. The accessories out. Let's get CoverGirl out of the box. Paint's toy samples here. What's going on? David Bax is hanging out. What's going on, Dave? it's funny because as somebody that opens everything, um, the windowless doesn't bother me. I'm ordering everything online anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. I don't, I'm not seeing the paint apps, but I'm not picking figures based on paint apps. Um, so the idea that like, oh, I can't see what's in the box. Well, like, I wouldn't if it was on the shelf, but I don't because it comes shipped to me anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I just think it's funny that I just think it's funny that they did about. It feels like it's been about a dozen figures, and then they're already changing the packaging again. I was keeping all the packaging. I don't know that I will going forward, especially if they just keep changing it because it just doesn't look uniform on a shelf. So what's the point, really? Just get some first impressions of this figure, by the way, if you're wondering what I'm doing. All right, so let's take a look. So we're going to take a look at accessories first, as we always do. It's weird not getting these out of a card. She doesn't want to stand up. It's weird not getting these out of a card because I'm so used to sort of doing the accessories while the figure is still in the bubble. She does not want to stand up, and this is kind of annoying. Normally, at least they'll stand out of the package, but there you go. She's fine. She's fine. She'll be fine. Don't worry about her. AI Collectibles is in the house. What's going on, AI? Paints Toy Sample says, I pre-ordered 3 AWOC figures and backed 2 Savage Crucible figures. Adam, you are now another enabler in my life. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think that's, are those kind words? I don't know. Immortan Jojo says, Cobra, la 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 la. I like Cobra La. I would love to see them in classified. I get that a lot of people don't like them, but anyway, that's fine. The heart wants what the heart wants. Pretty simple shotgun type weapon, I suppose. And I say simple because we've seen some interesting ones, like with Flint. Falcon has one as well. I have a little bit of a nitpick with the Falcon one. I haven't even seen it yet, but I've got a little bit of an issue. But this one's pretty straightforward, relatively straight out of the package, which is nice. I will probably, I don't know if you can even see it, but it does. The front end is straight. The back end is straight. Unfortunately, the two ends don't really line up. It's hard to sort of see that, but anyway, that's easy fix. Then she gets a pistol. I like this pistol. There's a little bit of extra detail on there. There is a star molded into the grip. The silver paint looks really, really nice. It's sort of a familiar looking pistol, but still has enough detail to make it uniquely CoverGirl's pistol. Now, we didn't get the Wolverine, of course, but we did get a wrench, at least. I guess that's better than nothing, to sort of represent her sort of mechanical inclination. And I would have liked this to have been silver, or at least cast in sort of that, there's that kind of pearlescent gray plastic that you'll get sometimes with accessories. I would have liked that. I mean, black feels a little bit weird, feels a little bit cheap to me. Jeremy is saying, I believe this is this one. I don't know which one. I don't know which one's which. One of these is a Benelli M4. I don't think that's the pistol, actually. I think that's this. Is that this? I don't know. Should have asked you beforehand. I think Jeremy, you're probably the resident firearms expert, but And then the oh, okay. So I said we didn't get a Wolverine. That's not entirely true. I don't know if this is gonna show up because oh yeah, maybe. Is it gonna pick it up? You basically get the schematics for the Wolverine on her little iPad tablet, what have you. So that's it. I mean, at least it's a little bit of a nod to the fact that she originally in the vintage series was a vehicle driver, and of course came with the Wolverine. So Jeremy says the shotgun. Okay, so this is modeled. Well, there she goes. Modeled after the Benelli M4. So there you go. It's a clean looking weapon. It looks good. A little bit of green on there as well. So just enough detail to make it look good. She is not going to want to stand up, and this table is not great. Not going to give her much help. But let's take a look at the figure. She of course comes in her sort of leather jacket with the fur collar. The head sculpt, okay, I was worried about the head sculpt because the Falcon one I'd heard bad things about, and this one doesn't photograph well. It didn't look. I was worried about it in the renders. I was even worried about it in the physical reveals. In person, it actually looks really good. I think the problem is that the makeup application in terms of paint creates sort of light and shadow that like up close looks really good and sort of in hand looks really good, but it looked like her eyes look sunken, and I'm even looking at it like on the screen and it doesn't look as good as it does in person. um Thankfully, I'm not a toy photographer or anything like that, so I don't really need to worry about it that much, but I get why people might complain about that. The jacket is quite nice. There's sort of different tones to it. I think there might be some sort of you know like some sort of wash to it almost, because it doesn't appear like the sleeves, at least the jacket bit seems like it's kind of one color, but then there's also like a shiny slightly different shade on it as well. The sculpting on the hair is really really good. It's really really well done. The colors look great. There's like kind of a wash on this too, I think, or at least it looks that way. Sculpted, again, sculpted well. There's texture in there and stuff like that. So I'm quite impressed with this figure. It looks really good. Even the pants almost look like there's a wash, but maybe that's just down to like they chose plastic really really well that like has sort of light and shade sort of worked in with the sculpting, with the texturing. And I think the legs are new. No, those are Lady J's legs. Who am I kidding? I think they're new boots though. I say as I'm like comparing to a figure on my shelf behind. Um, no, they're Lady J's boots as well. So okay, so waist down, it's Lady J. Waist up, new figure. But it looks great. It looks really really good, and all the holsters are good. There's texture to the holster. As I said, the belt has lots of nice texture, and then you get um, this other one where her little tablet will go, which it's a small thing, but I mean touches like that make these figures, to me at least, a lot more fun. She's got her pistol holster. She's got her iPhone holster, whatever it is. I suspect this, yep, her wrench even fits in a little loop on her belt, so that's pretty cool. Like the attention to detail. Now, I still give everything a hot bath right out of the package. One thing I noticed right here, and I've had this a couple times, and it's really not a big deal. The leg is like not quite on the ball joint, so like the ball joint is not fully into the socket in the leg, which creates this weird kind of gap. Um, You can see it a little bit better, I think, if I get the right angle. See how the left leg is kind of flush to the crotch, and then the right leg is a little bit further out. Easy fix. And I've had it on a few figures, and honestly, it's like if I held on to this long enough, I could probably warm it up enough to sort of pop that back into socket a little bit better, but I'm not worried because I'm going to have to do this thing anyway, straighten this thing out. So I usually do it sort of, well, if I do 1 or 2 unboxings, I'll usually sort of have 3 or 4 figures that get a nice hot bath, and everything gets straightened out and realigned and so on and so forth, and they're usually good to go. This plastic is pretty forgiving, and it's easy to work with. So anyway, super vanilla pose today. It's what you're gonna get, and by that I mean she's just gonna stand here with her Benelli M4, because that's what it is. Because I know that, because I know things about things, and because my friends know things about things. All right, let's see if she'll stay there. I bet she doesn't. Thanos Copter says, "Yeah, that leg is giving me anxiety." It's not giving me any anxiety. I'm just pointing it out, just as a thing. Like I said, these, part of the thing about you hear complaints about Hasbro using plastic that is too. There she goes. That's too soft or whatever. It's gummy. You hear gummy a lot. I don't find them gummy at all. They're softer plastic than some of the boutique brands, some of the more premium independent lines. And that's totally fine to me. I don't mind it at all. Because I'm less worried about them taking a shelf dive, knowing that if they fall, they're going to survive. So, all right, she's not going to stay up. I didn't do the art for Outback. Let's do that. Let me just quickly check in with comments. Quip says, "You're a jerk." Oh, your Quip doesn't sound quite the same. Doesn't roll off the tongue quite as nicely, but still. Jay said the Wolverine was my first Joe vehicle. It's a cool vehicle. I wish it had a little bit more capacity for figures. Like I wish another person could sit in there with her, because I think if that vehicle could seat 2 or 3, I think it would be in with a chance for getting a classified release. As it stands, being a single passenger vehicle, I don't know. I just don't know. It's a great vehicle. I've never had it. I never had a vintage Cover Girl either until relatively recently, and I bought her separate from a Wolverine because at the time I don't have room for more vehicles. I have tons of vintage GI Joe stuff, and I need to sell a lot of it off because it's just sitting in bins. Payne's toy sample. She looks much better up close. I agree. Yeah, and I was worried. I'd heard that from a lot of people, and I was like, all right, like we'll see. But sure enough, she does look a lot better. Does she have a sandwich making knife? Unfortunately not. You have to buy the deluxe kitchen set to get the sandwich knife. Paints Toy Sample says Marauders Gun Runners has great cheap stands. I have lots of stands. I just don't ever use them. At least for unboxings. I have lots of them, and I have figures on them. Almost all female figures. Most of the male figures I've found have stood up fine. But like I said, I got a bunch of NECA ones. I had somebody actually 3D print me a whole bunch that sort of look like the vintage carded ones. But Quip said, I haven't picked up any classified yet, but this latest wave that's up for pre-order has Miichi, Torpedo, and Shipwreck are calling to me. Those are great figures. That Torpedo, like talk about a figure that when they announced the name doesn't like, it's such an underwhelming vintage figure. You know, black and gray, flippers, a harpoon gun, and a backpack, a tiny nondescript backpack. But they they really knocked it out of the park. Like that torpedo looks fantastic. I completely agree. Shipwreck looks, I think, as people would expect, you know, of vintage shipwreck inspired figure should be. I was hoping for more of like a Pursuit of Cobra shipwreck, you know, with like a like the sweater and the beanie. But I think we could still get that in the future. I think the vintage one is the one that appeases more people. Mortan Jojo, how about Scrap Iron and Low Light? I've been avoiding the classified line, but there's now enough of some of my favorite characters. I might have to dip my toes. Do it, man. I mean, those are those two specifically, right? Like Scrap Iron with Pet, Dumas with Pet, was the code name for it before he got his released as Scrap Iron. They didn't give a name, you know, to his pet, but that thing's gonna look really, really good. And those blast effects with the missiles, like it's a really, really cool offering. I think that low light has always been one of my favorite vintage figures as well. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I think the accessories loadout on that is pretty great. Um, Paints have made him look like a seal coming from a water insertion. Yeah, they look good, man. They look good. Um, Quip, good call on the sweater and beanie shipwreck. I might have to hold off on him. I don't think we're getting it soon, so I don't know. I mean, it's up to you. You could wait, but you might be waiting a few years. Jay says, I want a couple shipwrecks to go with my Mexico Popeye. Fair enough. Okay, we're caught up on comments. Let's take a look at Outback's box art. So we get, as usual, you know, full art on the front with a small sort of picture of the figure, as well as art extended onto the side. So you get sort of this jungle insertion thing going on here, being that he's a survivalist. That makes perfect sense. So there's the picture of the figure on the back with the backpack and all the accessories. Great accessories with Tiger Force 1. Same ones here, just in a different color of plastic, slightly different deco. He is, he likes lightning. He's also a bullet dodger. He likes to take vacations, and he likes to take vacations in the jungle and the desert. There you go. I know that they list those all online, and you can actually go and look them up. But anyway. Number 63, Stuart Outback Selkirk. That's his footlocker there. He, of course, comes in this sort of printed box. I don't know what the point of the printing is. You can't see the printing inside the package because it's windowless. Why bother? Just put it on brown cardboard. I don't. There she goes again. I don't know what the point is, but it is what it is. We'll see. Like I said, the new packaging, you know, they've changed the packaging again. We shall see if the inside, if you know, if this is going to be the same inside there or not. I'm also curious to see if they continue with the little foot lockers or whether they go a different route inside the package as well. Man, it's a good head sculpt. I mean, that's a good head sculpt. We'll get back to that. Paint Toy Samples is ducking out. I appreciate you being here, man. I appreciate that. 5:30 comes early. Wanted to show my support. Have a good night, and Adam and chat. Have a good night yourself. 5:30 does come early. I'm usually up by then with my infant son as well, so I know what you mean. Being on the east, being on the East Coast, I know that it's late for some people. Payne, I don't know exactly where you are. I'm gonna make the assumption that that's the case, that you're on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast, so it's so pretty early for me, thankfully. Let's see if he will stand up while we go through his accessories. He's gonna stand up because he is stable. She keeps falling over backwards, so I'm just gonna adjust the shotgun to sort of counterbalance a little bit. We'll see if that works. It probably won't. I'm being realistic. It's probably not going to make a difference. Jeremy says, if only somebody would take those attributes from the box, catalog them, and make a game out of them. That would be fantastic. If only somebody was clever enough to do something like that. That person would probably be very clever and a very interesting person to chat to. And he would probably be watching this show because he would be intelligent enough to know that this is great viewing. Jay says he's a survivor. He is a survivor. All right, accessories. We get this nice big survival backpack. Lots of great texture on this. Again, like they do a really good job of using sort of multiple textures, multiple patterns, and things like that. So it's it almost looks like a ripstop sort of fabric. Not bad. With sort of the texture of almost like a grid pattern. The straps all look good. The buckles are detailed. You know, even like where things would be stitched, where they'd have sort of a cross stitch on them. It's all on there. All the details on there. So they do a really, really good job with the detail. So the pack looks good. To go on the pack, of course, we get his little mini survivalist shovel, which is pretty well sculpted. Like it's not just plain flat spade. And that will peg right on the side of the backpack, like so. We get a little knife, silver painted blade, which will slot into the sheath on his boot. Pistol. I said this, I think I said this on the Tiger Force Outback. This looks like a pistol from Blade Runner. Like it has sort of a sci-fi sort of a look to it. You know, the wrap on the grip. Maybe that's a survivalist thing. Maybe it's just a detail that they use on this figure because it looks cool. But anyway, I think it looks cool. It fixes little leg straps. So this is all up in his junk. Well, am I gonna bother fixing that? Nah, I'm not gonna bother. Pistol will still go in the holster, even if it looks silly, because it's all the way up his thigh. So is this, which is funny. So I'll very quickly show this. He's got his flashlight, the infamous flashlight that is lost with so many of the vintage figures. It's a little bit reflective, meant to look like, you know, sort of a lens on the flashlight. I don't know if it's picking it up or not, but I think it is a little bit. So that's kind of a cool addition. But that is just going to slide right in there. Definitely harder to lose than the vintage one. Not only is it bigger, but it doesn't just peg into the side of his leg. It's actually in a little holster, and it sits pretty comfortably in there. When that gets adjusted and it's not right up on his thigh like that, it'll look a lot better. But then we get his main weapon there. Now, okay, Tiger Force one, this was like super rubbery, super bendy, flexible. It was garbage. This one, they've used the sort of proper durometer of plastic. It's much, much firmer. Mine is, of course, bent out of the package, but a very easy fix in the hot bath that he is going to get anyway. And then we get, of course, the clip there, which will pop right in. And away you go. Is that backwards? I feel like it should go further in than that. Or it feels like my Tiger Force one did. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so there you go. Quip said, "You going to only collect the red-headed classified Joes?" No, I'm also going to collect the white-haired ones, the Tiger Force Outback as well. That could definitely work as a sidearm to a Marvel Legend Bishop or Cable. This one or his pistol? Because I feel like this one is a sidearm. That Marvel Legends Cable has a gigantic gun. Jay says he has a big spoon. Yeah, it's his big survival spoon. Jeremy says that weapon is trash. Do you mean this one or do you mean the Tiger Force one? The Tiger Force one is trash. Like it's terrible. Anyway, that's these weapons with straps. I don't know, man. I have mixed feelings because they look cool, but they're a pain in the butt to get in hands. Anyway. Quip, the sci-fi pistol. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it would totally work. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like for yeah, I think Bishop comes with one that's like almost identical to that. But anyway. All right, taking a look at the figure. I know it sums up with the head on this, and it doesn't look like my Tiger Force one. Or maybe it does? No, okay. So this, I don't know if this is gonna no, it doesn't really show up because it doesn't look as well. Maybe it kind of does. And maybe when I explain it, it looks like he's got a broken nose that like that's shifted that way. So when I compare it to this guy, it looks, you see how like the tip of his nose is like crooked? And I've never seen that. That's weird. Um, I wonder if that's something that I can fix with hot water. I don't know. But it kind of makes the head look kind of odd close up. Like it looks good. Don't get me wrong, it looks good. It's just that's gonna drive me crazy. So anyway, I'll try to fix that. We'll see. But the paint app is pretty good. So you get the red hair, the green bandana, vibrant bright blue eyes. This definitely looks like his old, his dad or his uncle or something, because the vibrancy in these eyes is kind of not there in these ones. This head sculpt, I like, is better, or the paint apps on this one is better than on this one. So I don't know if I got a dud or if this is just really, really good. I might have to buy a second one of these. I guess there's enough reusable parts in here that I'm almost tempted to buy a second one, just to see, just to try my luck on a better deco for the head. But anyway, the t-shirt looks great. I always loved his survival t-shirt, and I know that it stands for something that like there's like it's like his mantra. But I always liked it. I thought it looked good. He's got, the red hair, red arm hair to match his the hair on his head. Again, the application of the gray arm hair, I think, was executed better. And I think, it's hard. This is such a good figure that I'm comparing it to this. And this is more vintage accurate, but I like this figure more. Anyway, I'm going to stop comparing it to the Tiger Force one and just start sort of objectively sort of talking about this one as I'm sort of glancing at the vintage one on the shelf. It looks good. It's a very, very good match to the vintage figure. So in that respect, I really like it. Outback was one of my favorites as a kid, and this is a absolutely stunning looking figure. Everything about it, detail wise and deco wise, looks really, really good. I do like the application of the red arm hair. It's just maybe they needed another color in there to kind of blend it or to kind of match it, because it's you know, from afar, it just makes them look kind of pink on the forearm. But they also used a much pinker skin tone, so you know, a ginger out in the jungle might get a bit pink just from exposure. So I don't fault them for that choice. But maybe I just expected this, and this is just a little bit different. So. But altogether, a very, very good figure. And again, when I heat this guy up, he's going to get things adjusted, belts adjusted, and fixed and fit better. Because as is very often the case, you know, the web gear and the harness and all the straps and stuff like that all work great once you get them lined up properly on the figure, and not great unless you do. And the backpack's not going to go on because it doesn't line up. Oh, come on. There we go. Let's see if I can get this in his hand as well. Not too much fuss. I believe in myself. I can do it. I'm doing it backwards because I can't be bothered. And it looks ridiculous when I'm holding it like that, but hey, that's what you get. I didn't realize they were both redheads when I started. And I sort of picked the pair for the video. I just didn't think about them both being redheads, but that's a very valid point. Kind of makes them look ridiculous next to each other. Whatever. Oh, come on. Does not want to sit the way I want it to sit. Yeah, whatever, that'll do. All right, comments, questions. What do you guys want to talk about? Jay says Magnus ripoff. He kind of is, and I think we're spoiled. Those Mythic Legions head sculpts are fantastic. And Magnus is definitely one of my favorites. If you don't know who Magnus is, well, I have a Magnus head on a different body. But I can show that just so that people know. If you are not familiar with Mythic Legions, this is Magnus. This is not Magnus, but you're not wrong, Jay. You're not wrong. There's definitely some similarities going on there. Now, as far as Outback being a Magnus ripoff, I think it might be the other way round. I think there may have been some influence, you know, going the other way. Quip says, you've got to get a snow job now to finish the family. Well, he's on pre-order. He's definitely a cool looking figure. The big question for me with snow job is how many am I going to get? Eventually, I would like to have a couple more of them, because I think I would like to use that for customizing like a little Arctic sub team Get an Arctic Snake Eyes and an Arctic, whoever. Hoping that it's a pretty easy head swap. Hopefully the neck ball is shared with at least a couple other figures so that I could just pop them off and on. That's my one gripe about the classified line, is that they don't standardize stuff like that so that you can do easy pop and swaps with the heads. Everything else is easy to pop and swap. The heads, because the ball joints aren't all the same size, a pain in the butt. Couple fire crotches. Yeah. Quip said, wow, that's close. In terms of the heads, looking very, very similar. Yeah, they do. They really do look similar. All right. Quip said, you've got a GI Joe Looper thing going on with the older and younger Outback. Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of has that going on too, where like they kind of look similar, but they kind of don't. And you're like, okay, I get that they're the same, but they're not the same. When they used Joseph Gordon-Levitt to look like Bruce Willis, there's a scene where they're sort of sitting opposite each other, and they've clearly put prosthetics, like facial prosthetics, on both of them, but they still don't look exactly the same, and you still have to sort of suspend disbelief a little bit. Great film though. Great film, but I never felt like they were the same person. It was weird. I got what they were going for, and I appreciated it for what it was, but somewhere in my brain, I just could not get them to be. I could not allow them to be the same person. It was clearly, to me, that was like two different people, two different characters. I don't know. Quip said, that's a great, in terms of getting a couple snow jobs to do an Arctic team. He says that's a great idea. I was thinking the same thing about putting together a SEAL team with multiple torpedoes. That would be cool too. And probably a cheaper sub team to build, as Torpedo is not an expensive deluxe figure. Jay, I see your comments. I am not going there. I'm not going there today, Jay. All right, so that's the two figures. That's sort of all I had for tonight. Like I said, I've got a lot to talk about as far as the reveals, as far as the pre-orders and stuff like that. But we're gonna go hard on Sunday. Looking at all the pictures, looking at the details, looking at accessories and all that kind of stuff, what they come with, new parts reuse, on and on and on Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. So come back and join us for that for sure. I say we because there's probably going to be a couple other people joining me as well, but stay tuned. Make sure you hit that notification button if you haven't already, to get the notification on that. I will be doing another quick unboxing tomorrow for Falcon and the Crimson Bat, to find out for myself firsthand knowledge of just how bad the Falcon head is. Is it going to be something that I can live with in my collection, on my shelf, or will I need to do a head swap? Will I need to modify it in some way? I don't know. I'm willing to I'm sort of willing to accept him as he is. He may be the ugliest figure in the classified line, but the reality is somebody's got to be. It's unfortunate that it's somebody who's meant to be, handsome and charming, that ended up being the one that sort of ends up with that title. But like I said, somebody has to be the worst looking figure. So join me again, probably same time tomorrow, to open those. It's been a pleasure. I've had fun opening these great figures. As I always say, it's a lot more fun opening toys with friends. So I appreciate you guys being here, hanging out, and chatting. And I will talk to you all again very, very soon. Have a great night. Bye bye.